constantly throughout the Gita. They give us a little checklist to see if we're enlightened or not. You can't just declare yourself enlightened, okay? Well, you can, but you can only say you're enlightened if you, speaking as a person, speaking as a human being. You're obviously the light always. And if you say, but if you say I'm enlightened, then there are certain qualifications that go along with that. Because if you're the self, would that be a correct statement to make? No. It would not be a correct statement to say I'm enlightened if you're the self, would it? Why? Because enlightenment means what? There was a time when you were endarkened, doesn't it? You say I'm enlightened, that presupposes or implies that you were endarkened at one point. In other words, you were ignorant. But if you're the self, then was there ever a time when you were not the light? No. So, and enlightenment is simply the knowledge. Enlightenment is simply the knowledge I'm the self. So, if you're the self, you would not say I'm enlightened, would you? What would you say? What would be a correct statement?
I am.
You'd say I am the light. Now, I am the light is a statement of identity. That's not a statement of accomplishment, is it? See how they, think about it. If a person says I'm enlightened, it means he accomplished something. Something happened to that person, right? Doesn't it? Isn't that how you think about it? Sure it is. You think, well, I was this person, and now I got enlightened. The person remained, but now I got this thing called enlightenment. But enlightenment's not something that's added to the person. Enlightenment's your nature. Isn't it? So you can't say I'm enlightened. You can say I am the light, meaning if you know if the light refers to awareness, then that's the truth. What we've got out here in the spiritual world, it's got enlightenment sickness. Enlightenment sickness is the ego co-opting the self as an experience. I've got a special status now. I didn't have that status before. Now I've got a special status. What? The status of an enlightened person. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Is that? Whoa. Huh? Listen to me. I know something you don't know. I got something you don't have. Huh? Yeah. This is the biggest ego. This is the worst ego of all. Is the I'm enlightened ego. If you hear people saying it, run for the hills. Because they're definitely not enlightened. If a person wants you to think they're enlightened, it's just their ego talking here. So the Gita knows this, because this tradition's been around for a long time, and they've seen lots of these Johnny-come-lately enlightened people. Huh? Really. So they're going to give you a little more stringent definition. You just can't claim it. Okay? You can claim it, you can say I'm an enlightened person, if you meet these requirements. And what is the first requirement? You got to know the difference between action and actionlessness. You've got to be able to see that when something's happening, nothing's happening. And when nothing's happening, something's happening. You have to know what that means. Huh? If you don't know what that means, you're not enlightened. You're not the self. Because only somebody with self-knowledge would understand what that means. So that's the first one. Then it says, you're enlightened if what? If your actions have been burned in the fire of self-knowledge. What the hell does that mean? Does that mean I never do any actions again? Is that what that means? Enlightened person never does any actions? No, it doesn't mean that. Huh? It means that the knowledge that I'm whole and complete keeps me from doing actions with the belief that I can get completed by those actions or fulfilled by those actions. That I can actually gain something by doing or not doing. The person who doesn't know that does actions because he or she wants to complete his or herself, wants to fulfill his or herself through those actions. In other words, he or she feels he's an incomplete being and wants to enjoy the results of those actions. So this would be a doer there. In that situation, the person thinks they're a doer. But here, a knower acts, but doesn't give a damn about the results, because the results are not going to add anything to the self, nor are they going to subtract anything to the self. Why? They have no effect on the self at all. Why? Because they're in the apparent reality, in the Maya world, in the play. This is the play. Baba Muntanakanda called the play of consciousness. It's just a play here. Nothing really is happening here. We're just playing here, and so the effects of the actions that take place here have no effect on the self. Just as when we did that inquiry before and you tried to find out where all the actions you've done now and all the experiences you've done now, you couldn't find them. They weren't here. They aren't available. So they didn't actually happen. That's in the play world they happened, but in you, nothing happened at all. Such people act without desire for the results of their actions. Well, then what is it that's, They act, but they don't care about what happens to them. If you see these of some enlightened person, you better watch and see how they're doing things. And if they really do care or not. This is how you check up on these people. Be very suspicious when somebody says they're enlightened. Don't trust them at all. That's the last thing you should do, is believe anybody who says they're enlightened. You should just listen to people's words and see if they make sense. That's what we're trying to do here, is give you a way to make yourself a guru, your own intellect the guru, and understand and evaluate and develop the discrimination. So when you hear all this blather, this spiritual blah, 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 this vague spiritual blah, 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 and all these promises that the gurus are making, you can tell whether or not they're genuine or not, whether or not they're real or not. So these people don't care. They just do what they do. What is it that's impelling them to act? Their prarabdha karma. Remember you remember in the Viveka Chudamani at the end, the man says, he says, now I know who I am, what should I do? And the Guru says, go out and live according to your prarabdha. Prarabdha means what? Just allow the conditioning that's in you to burn out. You won't initiate new actions, because those will create new karma for you. You'll just what? Allow what's ever in you to burn out. And you'll live off of that, off your prarabdha. There's nothing for you to gain. There's no personal motivation for action anymore. So whatever prarabdha you have, and when your prarabdha runs out, your body dies, drops off, and what happens to you? Is there a special place where the enlightened people go to? You're not reborn, right? That's clear. The scripture says you're not reborn. So now I'm enlightened, then where do I go to since I live? You don't go anywhere, because you're not a you to go anywhere. It just means the subtle body just dissolves back into awareness, and you're toast. You're not a special ashram. Do I go to Siddha Loka and sit in the Loka with all the Siddhas? No, you don't. Only jivas would sit in the Siddha Loka. But there is a place called Siddha Loka, and there are jivas in that Loka, but they're just jivas. So they're going to have to get reborn, or they're going to have to just work out, enjoy the karma, their punya karmas, their good karmas in that loka, in which case, if they know who they are, they'll dissolve into awareness, and if they don't, they'll just be reborn again. Consequently, they're content. They are content because they don't depend on the results to make them happy. If you're depending on whether your girlfriend or your boyfriend loves you for your happiness, then you're not enlightened, okay? Huh? This is the checklist, okay?
That's a good one.
Huh?
If your dogs love you.
Dogs always love you, so that doesn't count. They are free of doership even when they act. See, they have no feeling that I'm doing. When you drink when you want a Coke or a cup of tea, the cup of tea is there, you pick it up and drink it. Do you think I'm picking up the cup of tea so I can drink it? Do you think like that? No, you don't. There's no what? There's no doership there, do you? The action just happens. The desire is there, the tea appears, you do it automatically. There's no thought I'm doing, is there? Those things just happen. Well, actually, that's how everything is. Everything is just happening as a result of what? Ishwara's programming. And they know that, so they don't claim authorship of their actions. The author of your actions is not you. Remember, he said when we were talking karma yoga here a few days ago, he says, know that you're not the author of your actions. Now this is a tough one, because you think I'm the author of actions. I'm doing this, I did this, you say, like that. But these people don't feel like I did this, or I'm doing this, or I'm going to do this. They know that action is just programmed from here. That's what the causal body means. The causal body means that what? Awareness shines on the total vasanas of all beings, and that produces action in this field. And I just happen to be one little unit in that field, and I'm dancing like a puppet on a string. We had a gentleman here who realized he was a puppet on a string the other day. That was pretty cool, wasn't it?
Is that the one who fell out of his chair?
Huh? Yeah, in other words, I'm being done. If I think I'm this subtle body, which we think we are, this is the experiencer. All those experiences are what? Happening by the grace of God. The doer is just one little thought in a great huge chain of causation that depends upon all the factors in the field of awareness. The doer's there. The doer's a thought, an idea, because you won't do without the idea. I'm a doer, so you'll do. The doer's there. But the doer's not causing the action. There's a guy, there's a researcher, consciousness researcher in the 80s named Benjamin Libet, L-I-B-E-T, a French guy. And he proved scientifically that what? Your mind is made up, your action is already done before you think you're doing it, before you think you're going to do it. People hate that. The materialists hate that, and the people who think they're the body, they hate that. Because the I am the doer notion is really strong there, and they want to feel like they're in control, in charge of their actions. So they believe that they're actually doing these things.